The Mad Dog's House of Pain, the only nationally licensed pro wrestling school in the state of Alabama. Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, trained by the Junkyard Dog, will be your trainer. You want to be a professional wrestling superstar? Learn from GCW's own Mad Dog's House of Pain. With over 22 years experience, learn from the Mad Dog's House of Pain. 205-567-6482. Start your career today. Call 205-567-6482.
I want to say greetings, good evening, and welcome. Courtesy of Global Championship Wrestling, this is GCW Radio on this 21st day of March 2017 in a multiple location station as we are on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network and ProWrestlingRadio.net. In Studio 1B, yours truly, Fast Eddie Layne, being joined by tag team partner, the incomparable Mad Dog Dan Sawyer. What's up, brother?
Well, getting ready for a great show this week. GCW Finals, Tag Team Memorial Tournament coming up this Saturday night, March 25th, Pell City, Alabama, at the Pell City Civic Center. Phones have been ringing off the hook at the office, they say. Tickets being held. You know, it's spring break, but what a way to start the spring break than with March Mayhem.
Now, before we start diving into it, I want to go ahead and clear something up. I've been asked a couple of times by a few different people. In the month of April, now normally I'll go ahead and clear this one up, and then Dan will back me up on this. We always run the last Saturday of the month unless something changes. And in the month of April, that is going to fall on Saturday, April 29th, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
So, as we are headed for the last Saturday of the month in the month of March, once again, in the month of April, that will be Saturday night, April 29. So that is the last Saturday of the month. We're maintaining that consistency there, kids. But looking forward to it. Looking forward to having a great time this coming Saturday night. The finals of the JYD Memorial Tag Team Tournament in place. You've got the middleweight title on the line, the heavyweight title on the line. The tag team titles will be on the line in the JYD Memorial. And, of course, did I cover all of them? No, I didn't. Heavyweight, tag team, middleweight, ladies championship in a triple threat match, Daniel.
Those ladies, you know, Aja Pereira is the current ladies champion in GCW. She came in. She was very much a lot of fun. The crowd loved her. But she walked away with a victory. And, you know, there's a little trouble with makeup and muscles being Veronica Fairchild and Stormy Lee. I think Stormy was actually trying to help Veronica, and it kind of backfired. But, you know, the last thing we saw was Aja Pereira having her hand raised as she put the Oklahoma roll right on Veronica Fairchild. And then Veronica makes the challenge, hey, I get a shot at my belt back. But Stormy Lee, if you want to be in the championship match so bad, why don't you involve yourself? Commissioner Jack Lord, what do you think? We get the thumbs up. Off to the races we go this Saturday night. So, triple threat, ladies championship. You know, may the best lady win.
You know, and this is something that really took me by surprise because Veronica Fairchild has been a strong champion for the women's division and has turned back a number of very well-qualified veterans and very, very well-seasoned veteran competitors. And Aja Pereira, I mean, lightning in a bottle. I hate to use that phrase because I normally save that one for that very, very remote occasion. But the way that Veronica has been almost unbeatable to a great degree, it almost, and you covered it a second ago because you made a statement about Stormy Lee, but I felt that maybe Stormy was being just a touch on the arrogant side because out of all the people that have gotten championship matches while Veronica has been champion, Stormy has not been a part of the title mix. And of course, you know, being a team, you don't always want to go ahead. You don't want to always put personal directly in front of the team. But by the same token, you can only sit on the sidelines so long. But I'm just going to go ahead and ask you. I mean, this is hyperbole. This is speculation on our part. Do you think that there might be just a touch of jealousy from Stormy Lee to Veronica Fairchild as to her not getting a championship match?
You know, Stormy made it very clear after the show that, you know, they are the Bonnie and Clyde of professional wrestling, her and Francisco Chiazzo. But they also consider themselves the king and queen of the Southeast.
Right.
And she says there's no better way for a queen to prove her worth than to have the GCW Ladies Championship, along her king being the GCW Heavyweight Championship. So, yeah, I mean, what better way to prove that you're the king and the queen of professional wrestling as to not be the Ladies Champion and the GCW Heavyweight Champion? But, you know, that kind of takes us into the next spot there. You know, we got a lot going on. Heavyweight Championship will be on the line. We laughed about it a little bit off the air, and you guys touched on it some during To Be Determined on last Wednesday, talking about Francisco being fearful of heights. I had no idea that. And I guess that's what he was talking about when he says, Jack, you can't do this to me. You can't do this to me. I don't know about him being scared of heights, but that's the rumor going around. And, you know, whether it is or it isn't, Brass Knucks will be up on a pole above the ring on one of the poles. And, wow, we're going to see what happens.
You know, I got to love this because if it is true that Chiazzo is acrophobic, that gives, and I'm not going to talk about it on air, and I'm going to ask him because he'll kill both of us, and that's legit. That makes two little aces that a lot of people have over Chiazzo. One is not well publicized, and that's the one I'm not going to talk about, but being acrophobic, that'd be another one that a lot of people are probably going to give him a little bit of grief about, don't you think?
Yeah, but in some of his time at Deep South, I think he had some scaffold matches and some ladder matches and things. So, I mean, that's going to put him, like, from the top rope and whatnot, it's going to put him over 20 foot in the air.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, it's not something fun, but this is going to be very interesting in so many different ways. Because, first and foremost, Micah Taylor, former United States Marine Corps veteran, he would zip line in there in a heartbeat. He's fearless. I spent 2.5 hours last Sunday shooting AR-15s. He put the pictures online. It was funny. We were trying to figure out what was going on with my leg, and you said it's got a little captain in you. That was the case. That was the AR-15 case that was on the ground. I was wearing black shorts. It took us forever. Like, what's going on there? But, you know, Mike is legit. I mean, not just in the ring, not just as a personal trainer, not just with motion capture, not just being a dad and a husband. He can pretty much put together anything. I laughed at him the other day. He's such a great mechanic. He worked on Apaches and Hueys and all kinds of helicopters back in the Marines. And I said, you know something, You're B.A. Baracus. You are Mr. T from the A-Team. You really can build anything. And as we're sitting out there shooting up shells, you know, into targets, it was just kind of funny. But, yeah, we enjoyed having Micah with us last week on the air. And, you know, he's looking forward to this match. He says, you know, I've never had a Brass Knucks on the pole match. And he goes, it's going to be historical. But he says, you know, I'm taking that belt back. And I said, hey, man, I hope you do. He said, either way, I'm gonna split the wig of Francisco Chiazzo. I was like, okay.
There's two.
He looks like that he's ready for the match, so should be good.
There's two things I want to ask you about because Chiazzo's making a comment on social media that when Stormy captures the ladies' championship, and when he retains the heavyweight championship, this is going to be the first time, in his opinion, that a proper couple has held the men's and women's singles titles in global. Now, wasn't there a stretch, and I don't mean to doubt Mr. Chiazzo's word, but I think he might have missed something. Wasn't there a stretch where Micah Taylor was the heavyweight champion and Tracy was the ladies simultaneously?
Yes, that's true. There was the time that was going on. That was back in the days of the Underground. But, we got to just kind of wait and see. I mean, I understand, but he doesn't know all the history of GCW.
Right.
He just knows of the 3 years, almost 4, that he's been here.
Right.
And, there are historical facts. Tracy Taylor's Island Girl was the GCW Ladies Champion, and Micah Taylor was the GCW Heavyweight Champion, and that was at the same time. So, Frankie, you need to do your homework before you speak. I know there's a lot of people out there that like to jump the gun, but, we're just going to see who wins this thing. I mean, that's one of the things. You got 2 huge matches right there in the ladies division. Stormy Lee's never been champion. Veronica has been champion. Aja's won it once. She's current champion. But this Brass Knucks just adds a whole other element into this, GCW Men's Heavyweight Championship match of, excitement and crawling. And, everybody wants to get whatever that weapon is up there. And that weapon that night is going to be the Brass Knucks. Now, I'm not sure about this, but Frankie had sent an email saying something to the commissioner. Was there going to be a pole on each corner with 2 sets of brass knuckles, or was there 1 set, or what? So I'm waiting for what the board decides they're going to do on that, if it's just going to be 1 pole, 1 set of knuckles. The way the wording is on it, and this is my first time to ever see this. I've seen the coal miner glove. I've seen the bull whip. I've seen the cowbell, the bull rope. I've seen it all, different kinds of matches on a pole. But the Brass Knucks on a pole, this is going to be very interesting. And we did find out this is not sanctioned by the Alabama Athletic Commission, because this is a weapon. Big disappointment there, right? Big shocker.
Yeah, really. Now, I've got a weird question I want to ask you. And folks, if you're listening live, don't forget, chat room is open, beyondringside.com. Also, you can catch us on Twitter at GCW Pro Wrestling, Facebook.com/GCW Pro Wrestling, and also on MySpace as well. So I want to get everybody's opinion on this one. It almost seems like that the momentum is swinging in the direction of Micah Taylor. And I have my hypothesis on this, but I want to get yours first. Are people selling Francisco Chiazzo just a little bit short going into this match?
I don't know if they're selling him short. I just think that they want Micah to win. But they don't realize how many belts Frankie has won this year. AIWF, you got all these different titles here, there, and everywhere. I mean, the guy wrestles all the time, during the week, on the weekend. He's not your typical indie guy that wrestles once a month.
As we like to call him.
Most of the roster at GCW stays very busy.
Not necessarily what you call a 40-miler, right?
Yeah, it used to be 20, but we're gonna go 40 for some of these guys. But you gotta, I don't know, you just gotta give respect to a guy that really hones his craft, works hard, and it's not easy being on the road.
Nope.
I don't know. I remember as a youngster, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And then when you get a family and you get older, your body just does not recover like it used to. And if you can try to get home in less than 6 hours, you try. And those wise words from WWE Hall of Famer, the Bullet Bob Armstrong. He says, if you can get home, Denny, get home. He says, there ain't nothing like waking up in your bed the next morning
without a
not
wake-up
having
call.
to drive all day.
Without a wake-up call.
Yeah.
I understand that concept doing road shows. It's kind of like you are okay with staying in a hotel room as long as it is clean and comfortable, but there is nothing like waking up the following day without having the phone ringing or the alarm going off going, oh, crap, got to check out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worst feeling in the world is when you wake up and not even from alcohol or anything else, just waking up not knowing where you are. You wake up, where am I? Staring at the ceiling. Mm-hmm. What day is it?
Yeah, I know that feeling.
It's happened a few times.
Oh, maybe one or two, because you're notorious for road runs. One day you'll be in Alabama, the next day in Georgia, one day in Tennessee, over in Mississippi. You've worked for a number of, especially over the last. I've got to say this, and folks, I'm gonna pull a little bit of a curtain back, just a hair, because for a long time, Mad Dog Dan Sawyer was exclusive. And over the last, I would say, 2 years in particular, you have really, gotten out there. Because I would see you on shows in the states that I've mentioned, and not even including Florida, Kentucky. You have really been burning up the roads over the last 2 years. And that's something that a lot of people are sitting back going, this is the same Mad Dog Dan Sawyer? He's where? So, dude, from me to you, in all sincerity, and please take this in the spirit intended, I tip my hat to you.
Well, I appreciate that. For many years, when I first started, I kept the roads hot. And then after back surgery, it was just like, it just hurts riding a car. I didn't mind wrestling, but, riding back and forth was getting old. But then I dropped the pounds and just kind of got a new lease on life and decided to get up there and do what feels good. And wrestling is what does make me feel good. Even though it's put pains in my body, reaching out to the people and getting to perform for them. And I'm still a fan at heart. William Regal, when O'Hagan and I did the Extra Talent a few years ago with WWE, I don't like the term marks, okay? That's an old carny term. But when you bring in folks to a promotion, whether it's working for GCW or I'm at Peach State or over in APCW in Mississippi or AWA in Tennessee or Florida, wherever we are, people paid their hard-earned money to come see you. They come to see the whole show. But they paid to get in. They paid for food, whether they bought food at the venue. They're going to buy merchandise. They're there. They're giving you their Saturday, Friday, Sunday, whatever day it is. They're giving you time from family time to come and bond there. They could have went to the movies. They could have went to the local carnival. They could have, went to the car wash. Could have went to Captain D's. They could have went to Burger King. They could have went and did many things. But they decided to take their hard-earned money and come to professional wrestling. So it is your job, if you're hearing this, if you're listening to this show tonight, and you're a wrestler, and you're not trying to look the best you can, and you're not working hard, and you're not wanting to put on a show, keep your ass at home, because there are a lot of men out there and women that do want to do this job, that love this just like I do, and we need to stick together and stop tearing each other down, start working together, and stop trying to stir up BS. And if you're one of those guys that's stirring up BS in a locker room, your ass is going to be in a sling. Because before the show the other night, when I was at Peach State there with you, I had to hear a rumor that I had a problem with Shane Knowles, the promoter. Now, Shane invited me over and asked me to do the commentating, and I don't have a problem with Rick Michaels or any of the other crew. So, guess what, bitch? Your number's cooked. and I hope you hear this and you're crying on a big pillow.
Well, see, I've got to jump in for a hot second because
there is no beef. I asked Shane, I said, tell me if there is. He goes, never has there been.
Let's do this real quick, and let's be blunt, because if there was heat between Dan Sawyer and Shane Knowles, why would Dan have invited Shane to do commentary during our February show?
And he's been there before this year too. He's been there before this year, and we're always nice to each other. Listen, I'm not a hugger. Ask any of the boys. If you get a handshake and a hug from me, I don't give that to everybody. That's generic in my opinion. You know, I respect Shane Knowles. I respect Rick Michaels. I respect Eddie. I respect Bo Barons. I respect the people that are in charge there. When I go to a place, I am a guest. I am a guest, and I'm a professional guest. Sure, there may be somebody I don't like, but guess what? I'm a professional. Therefore, I extend my hand, shake their hand, and say hello, and move on to the next person. If you think you can have butt-hurtness in this business, you better be thick-skinned, first and foremost. If you just joined this business last year or last week or last month and you're training, this is not the business for you if you get your little panties all up your ass. And this is the Bill Watts, Ole Anderson that I was compared to last summer in Orlando. Yes, I am that guy. I am a ASS hole. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, not just in GCW, in wrestling in general. In wrestling in general. You will not come through my school and be broke into this business and be a panty waste and think you're not going to put the ring up and pay your dues. If you don't want to come to train, you shouldn't probably be on a show. You know, you take a booking, you make the booking. Show up early, how about it, and stay late. Charles Anders, Scott Morgan, Aiden Andrews, hard-working young men. They've worked their way into title spots and shots, and they make a professional appearance when they show up. They don't sit around and run their mouth. They do their job. And guys, I'm not blowing smoke up your butt. I've told you this to your face. But it's nice to get a little golden star every now and then and say, hey, you know, I think I'm doing this right. They work out. They eat right. You know, I mean, these guys have got it figured out. But there's a ton of guys that have also got it figured out. Big K. Holmes, Johnny Lerman, Cole Sykes. You know, guys that really want this. They want to do this. They're young. They can. You know, they're like, I wish I'd have started when I was 15 like you. I said, well, you couldn't have.
Nope.
It's like, you know, I mean, it wasn't just like it is now. There were no schools back in the day. There was the power plant and, you know, 95, 96, whatever. But, you know, everybody didn't have $5,000 to put up front to go get the crap beat out of them and make yourself puke. You know, it's not as hard as it used to be. But the guys that are breaking in are getting brought in the right way, you know? Somebody popped me earlier. I shared something on my page. It's the week of the show. Nick Dinsmore is doing a show up north somewhere, and it's for kick the crap out of addiction or something. He was telling his boys on the post, he says, share this and I'll give you a little something extra for trans. I wished I could, but please share this poster. I clicked on it and shared it, and he sent me a private message. Says, man, thank you so much. That means a lot. I was like, you know, we're all in this same thing together, and the sooner you realize this, no matter what you call your show, and stop being or stop thinking that you're bigger than this business and you're more important than the guys that are there in the locker room with you, you will be a lot better. I put something out on Facebook the other day. It's time to humble some people. You know? And it's not just in whatever you do. You know, whatever you do. If you pluck chickens or you're scooping cow manure and loading trucks, be the best that you can be. but people are paying to come see you wrestle for them. So don't you think you should be the best wrestler you could be? I mean, that's just me. I know a lot of guys that can cook a mean hot dog during the summer, but are they going to put Sneaky Pete's out of business this summer? No. You know, I can cook a hell of a steak and some ribs. Am I going to put Ruth's Chris out of business anytime soon? No. I don't want to, but I want to wrestle. I know I went all over the place tonight, but it was just heavy on my heart. You know, we were having a discussion before we went on the air about guys not sharing the poster. Do you know how hard it is for Eddie to go through and make everyone tagging? Make sure if you weren't tagged in the thing, you'd get your ass in a knot and go, "Oh, he didn't tag me." But then you get it and you don't do anything with it. You're a bitch, and then you're going to complain. Yeah, that's me saying that. That's me saying that. I'm saying that, and I mean it. If you don't like it, stop being one. And if you think you want to say something about it, let me slap the teeth out of your head.
There you go.
Been known to do that once or twice. But, you know, love what you do. You're listening to the show. It's a podcast. It's legit. We shoot. We say the truth. We love wrestling. Eddie works like 60 hours a friggin' week. And he does this because he loves it. Sure, he gets paid on show day, but he don't get paid for his time. And, you know, I respect the hell out of him. And I bitch about this stuff because people don't share it. I mean, good God, we tag you in it. All you got to do is approve it. Boop.
Yep.
Share it with your people. It's always sucky that the guys that don't share and don't want to put nothing out, they're the ones, well, I got this guest, and this. No, you don't. You get one guest just like everybody else. You know? I don't even have a guest. You know, you get one guest. For goodness sakes, this is a business. This is not here as a, I just, blah, blah, whatever. I just want to be a superhero for 12 minutes. I want to be the biggest star on the card for 12 minutes.
You just reminded me of something that Mickey said during one of the Rocky movies. If you're training for a 45-minute fight, that means you got to train 45,000 minutes, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, here's the thing about it. A lot of people who, and this, folks, we're going traditional here for a second. And you are listening to GCW Radio live on a Tuesday night, March the 21st. It is 8:41 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Fast Eddie Layne, Mad Dog Dan Sawyer. And this is something that we've talked about on Beyond Ringside, on To Be Determined, on the Shooters Gallery, Back to Basics, all of the above. There is more. If the average person knew what all it really takes to run a pro wrestling promotion, a lot of you would throw your hands up and go, not doing it. It's like in Alabama.
Ask how many people they've done it and they failed. And they go, well, what did we do wrong?
Yeah. I mean, there's a number of different things. The independent variables.
You just have to do it, you know?
I mean, it's like in Alabama, if you're running a legitimate promotion, and there are some promotions out there that are not legit through the Alabama Athletic Commission. We not only deal directly with the AAC and their board and their chairman. Of course, you've got to have the promoter's license, the event license, the venue license. You've got to have insurance for the event. And then on top of everything else, you have to have a marked off perimeter. Their rule is they want you to have a guardrail. We have a guardrail. If circumstances permit, they'll give you a one-time exemption to have a roped off area, but they still prefer to have you the guardrail. And once again, add back to this, you have to have insurance in place that covers you as the business owner as well as the venue.
Yeah.
So there's more than to it, just that if you're going to run a real wrestling promotion. And I know that people listen to it who work for different companies. I know other promoters listen to this. If you're running a fly-by night, either do it right or get out of my business. And my business is pro wrestling. because the fly-by-nights, or as we used to call them back in the day, the outlaws, are giving the real shooters a bad name and a bad rep. And we have to go through and clean up your mess in order to show people that we know how to do business the right way. But like I said, and this is something else, you have guys who were going through and I remember an interview that was done recently with somebody who's been in the industry for a number of years. And lo and behold, the times are a little bit different nowadays. You have schools that openly advertise and promote, like Mad Dog's House of Pain. 205-567-6482. If you're in the state of Alabama and you'd like to follow your dream of being a pro wrestler, contact the man. He will get you in the right direction. He will sit down with you for an interview. And if you impress upon him that your heart and your body and your mind are all in the right place, y'all can work out the numbers. I got nothing to do with that side of the board. That's his. That's it. House of Pain is his baby. I just help him promote it and hope the right people say, I want to follow my dream. But when I first started into this industry, when I first became a fan of this business, it was a lot more tight-lipped. Trying to find a person that would actually open up to train, much less talk about training, would normally take an act of God Congress and the 82nd Airborne. I lived in Birmingham, Alabama. Before I got involved in it, I would go to Southeastern Championship Wrestling. I was there every Monday night. I was a traditional face. And as time went on, I became acquaintances and strong acquaintances, friends with a couple of the people who were with the promotion. In-ring talent, announce team, referees, production crew, all of the above. But it still took a while before somebody could believe in me to the point it's like, okay, so you're really that serious? I said, yes, I am. Okay, we'll talk. Nowadays, it's a hell of a lot easier. And I sit back and say, yes, I'm talking about the times they have changed. They have changed a lot. And a lot of people who are in pro wrestling now should be very thankful. Because I'm going to be a prick when I say this. There are some people working in this industry today that wouldn't have made it 5 minutes. And there are some people working in this business today. I am proud to be able to call my professional brothers and sisters. There are some of y'all that were not trained the right way. That's why I stand up for the House of Pain, because I know they train people the right way. They teach and help you understand the psychology of the world of pro wrestling and a respect for this industry, a respect for the sport. That's why I stand side by side with Dan Sawyer on this.
Well, this is kind of funny. There was a young man that has been coming to shows for a long time, and I told him when he gets to 18, he could, come up and train. But he found somebody to train him before he turned 18, and he goes, but don't worry, I'm going to come to your school after I'm finished with theirs. I said, well, you better if you plan on wrestling, because I wouldn't book you, because who did they train? And who trained them, first and foremost? I think everyone knows who trained me, the Junkyard Dog, Sylvester Ritter. Broke in 1990. That's 27 years. That's longer than a lot of people been alive. And I'm happy that I've been a part of every second of it. But there are no shortcuts. And people say they can train you in 10 weeks. There's no way. It takes 30 weeks of training. And that leads to where we are today. Joey Lightning challenging the middleweight champion, Charles Anders, this Saturday night, March 25th. I think it's going to be a great match between Xanders and Lightning. Lightning being razzed by the peanut gallery often about is he the 205 or heavier, but it's 225 and below, and Xanders wants him weighed before the match.
That can be arranged.
Yep, there is a scale in the weight room. Hey, we can even get the camera crew in there.
That's right. It's funny because I've got to sit back and give all the credit in the world. Joey Lightning since his return to Global. Number one, he has trimmed down. He has gotten himself back in better shape. He has gotten himself back in more ring shape. And for him to be able to challenge this Saturday night, going one-on-one with the middleweight champion, Charles Anders, folks, do not blink during this match, because I guarantee you, this is going to be one that's going to have you smiling and talking in the right way. 5 seconds after it's done, it's like, can they do that again? Ring the bell. Let them go. Let them make it 2 out of 3. Let them go. Ooh, pressure. Speaking of, you brought up one. Speaking of pressure, Dylan Cook, Corey Hollis, 2 accomplished amateurs, 2 accomplished pros. Well, like I said, for those of you who are listening the first time, yes, I'm making a reference to Corey Hollis. I'm talking about the one you've seen on NXT, WWE programming, Ring of Honor, and we can keep going. And Dylan Cook, since he broke into the professional ranks, has been making his way and working to build his body of work all around the southeastern U.S. and then some. These 2 going at it this Saturday night. That's another match. People better not blink, because it's going to be the best of all worlds if they decide to cut loose, because you've got 2 great amateurs who have turned into 2 very solid professionals and then some. You never know what direction either one of them's going to go. They may go legitimate schoolboy amateur for a little while, just when they think the other one's going to slap it into full-scale professional gear. Daniel?
Well, I've got to say, of all the years the tournament has happened, and that's going on 17 years, I've never seen a partner turn on a partner when they actually won. You know, this Saturday night, it should be Hollis and Cook, a team moving on in the finals to wrestle.
Right.
For the tag team championship. But instead, Hollis takes the microphone and Reader's Digest version says he's tired of him riding his coattails and all that kind of stuff. And the history there is that Corey Hollis was one of his coaches at Leeds. And so you got 2 guys that ride the roads with each other, friends. Heck, they were on Instagram the week of the show prior to. And then they are fighting. I think Cook had to ride home with a family member. Talking about some bad blood.
Exactly.
You piss off somebody's mama, attack their son, you got a whole other ball of wax to deal with. Live to fight another day in the ring. But I'm serious. I mean, like, I think Dylan had to ride home with his mom from the show, because he had rode with Corey Hollis. I mean, who does that?
I really don't know. I don't know where the attitude shift in Hollis has come from. I really don't, because Corey Hollis has been one of the most popular individuals everywhere he's gone, and then all of a sudden, and it's not just in Global, it's in other organizations as well, but we just felt the wrath of it as he turned on Dylan Cook and just laid him to waste.
Yeah, there was a time he tagged with Mike Posey before he was T-Dog, and they were Alabama Attitude, and they were Jimmy Rave approved. Maybe, I don't know, maybe seeing, I mean, P-Dog, maybe he was in his ear. I don't know. I don't know what to think about all that. But it was a great tag team match with Dark Fury and Antonio Garza, the Latino sensation. They won the match, and then he attacks him. That's just wild. So maybe there's bad blood we don't know of.
Conceivably so. Jealousy has so many different shapes
and colors.
And I tell you what, I wouldn't mind seeing Dark Fury and Antonio Garza team up one more time somewhere down the road. Those two had a great chemistry between them.
Yes, they do. I was impressed with their lucha libre style, and it's really not that often you get to see two guys work together that are Latino and can communicate, and it was really, really good, a really good match. Well, let's talk about the main event that night. It's all come down to the JYD Finals 2017 Memorial Tag Team Tournament. AJ Steele and myself, we're ready. We're ready to do this thing, as you say. Taking on the Night Prowler, Mudbone, who currently have the belts. But then, as we look over in that third corner, you got the team of the Heathens. Talking about Logan Creed, Mr. O'Hagan, Brooklyn Creed, and the Wicked Nemesis. That is a lot of evil.
Oh, God,
There's a
yes.
lot of evil. That is a lot of evil. In both corners now.
As if Darth O'Hagan wasn't enough, you put him with the Extinction Level event. Holy hell. And
I was up on the roof helping my dad do some roofing today. And one of his friends from work is a contractor, and he was talking to me, and he goes, so you got this match, and now how does that work? He said, I know about triple threats and whatnot. I said, my partner and myself, we're going against those four guys and their valiant manager. Whoa. I said, yeah, I know. Then I showed him a picture of AJ, and he says, oh, I think you're going to be all right. I'm excited about this match. There was a time a little less than a month ago that I didn't even tell you till I was out of the hospital because I don't like people worrying about me. The world is full of worries. And I'm excited about this Saturday night. You sit there in an IV drip and they tell you can't even stand up when it's time to go take a tinkle. They give you a little container to put it in. You start thinking about reality, about, well, I sure am glad I enjoyed that last match. But I don't like that kind of thing, Some people like going to the hospitals and stuff. Dude, they wake you up every 15 minutes to take your blood pressure, cut your lights on. It's not a place to catch any rest. It's not like on TV either. There are some good-looking nurses, though. I will say that. Could have been the morphine. I don't know.
Yeah, you could have given them my phone. Hey, you could have given them the cute. Hey, come on. Right. Could have given the cute nurse the brother's phone number, but no, I see how it is. You had to worry about your IV.
They didn't even want me having my cell phone there. So they said I needed to rest.
Every once in a while, you got to put the darn thing down, dude. I'm one to talk.
I lost you there for a second. I could be just in a bad cell right there.
Every once in a while, you got to put the cell phone down and back away slowly.
Yeah. You and several of my friends say I go off the grid. What's wrong? I know when I finally talk to you and you're like, what's wrong? Or you text it to me. I'm like, uh-oh, I must have been off radar for too long.
I'll send a message going, oh, crap, what have I done? It's like, nothing.
It's never you. It's never you, sir. Never you.
But now I'm going to lay it like this. You've got three tremendous teams that are going to be in a triple threat match to determine, A, the recipient and winner of the 2017 JYD Memorial Tag Team Tournament trophy and the honors and the check that goes along with it. And on top of that, the tag team championships are on the line as well this Saturday night in Pell City, Alabama, March 25th. I've got to lay this one on the line. Honestly, this is one of the few times where it almost looks like the tag team champions are going in as the underdogs. And nobody... Yeah, I know. That's a scary...
I haven't even looked at it that way. I feel like AJ and me are having to fight four badass men. I almost went Samuel L. Jackson, Pulp Fiction wallet. Bad mothers. I mean...
Lay some bad mama jammas.
you know, Logan Creed's the guy that I fought the least in this group. I've only wrestled him once. But O'Hagan, Mudbone, Prowler, I went one-on-one against them. I've tagged with them all.
Yeah.
So they know my strengths, they know my weaknesses. So, I mean, and then you got Wicked Nemesis out there. He is the combination, if I go sports world for a second, and a little comic book. He's like if you took Sinestro, the attitude of Bobby Knight, and Nick Saban with some Bear Bryant, put them all together in the mind of J.J. Dillon and James E. Cornette. You put that in a centrifuge, you got him. I'm telling you, the guy is dangerous. He can intimidate you, manipulate you, and he can just hurt you. And he will call out somebody in the ring how dumb you did something. If you're dumb, you turned your back on us. I mean, he'll just tell you. Oh, you gave up your neck to O'Hagan. Oh, you gave him your arm. Shouldn't have done that. That was stupid. And don't put your hands on him because he's got some reach. He's like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
He'll give you the how-to. He will lay hands on you, not in an earnest, angry, healing, holy way.
It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a great match. I am so looking forward to this tag team, the triple threat tag team main event. Remember, folks, all gold will be on the line. March Mayhem this Saturday night. Tickets are how much?
Only $10.
Doors open at what time?
7 o'clock, 7:30 start time.
Now, and please remember, before I go and throw this out there for everybody, how are reserve seats looking? How close are we to being completely out of reserve seats?
There's still some reserve seats on second and third row.
Okay.
But if you want reserve seats, you need to do something before Friday because they will be gone. Now, there's plenty of seats in the bleacher. I'm not saying there's not plenty of seats. I'm just saying if you want part of those reserve seats, you need to make reservations as such. GCW Media at yahoo.com, or you can call the phone number 205-567-6482. You have to leave a name with these. You can't just say, I need 6 tickets. Okay, who are you? A text like that gets you nothing. You have to be thorough. Who you are, how many seats, and for which event. And it's this Saturday night, March 25th, Pell City, Alabama, Pell City Civic Center. Doors will open at 7. People start lining up at 4:45, 5 o'clock. They're there. So there will be seats. But if you want reserve seats, you need to make sure it's taken care of and make sure that you get those ticket reservations in. Don't wait till Saturday to do it. You can say you're coming, but don't wait till Saturday to try to hold seats.
Hell no. See, I normally tell people Friday, noon, Central Time is the cutoff.
Yes.
Now, you got...
And for our West Georgia fans, that's 11 o'clock for you guys, Eastern Time.
That's Friday, 11 a.m. in the Eastern Time Zone. That is Friday, noon in the Central Time Zone. That way we have time to process all the orders. That way we can make sure that everybody's going to be in place. And like I said, if you don't get one in, I'm sorry. But like I say, and also please remember, I said it last week, and it's also all the way across our social media sites. We do not handle seat reservations on social media. We don't do it on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, LinkedIn, Google+, Instagram, Vine, Snapchat, none of them. GCWmedia@yahoo.com is the only way that we handle seat reservations. Why? Because they all come into the same address. They all have a timestamp when they come in. That way...
First come, first serve.
Exactly. It is first come, first serve, plain and simple. So please.
And while we're finishing, we're wrapping the program tonight. This is the most important thing I think I've ever said in radio. Please do not, in any way, shape, or form, with an object or your hand, lay your hands on a performer at any time, be WWE, Ring of Honor, if WCW got back together, wherever you are. Do not lay your hands on a wrestler. They will not touch you first. But if you do, they're probably going to lay hands on you to protect themselves because they don't know what you're going to do to them.
Right.
But also, there's always security film going on 5 different cameras. And if you do something goofy like that, it will be caught on tape. And that's all I really want to say about it. But just don't do it. You can think about it. But don't do it.
There's your obligatory Smokey and the Bandit reference for the day. Still must see. Still must see. You get Dan and I started on Smokey and the Bandit. We will have a quote fest coming at you. 1, definitely. 2, a little bit of it. And I still have never watched 3 in its entirety.
No, I can't. Nobody makes me look like no possum. But Daddy, that one, shut your...
I know. Folks, don't forget GCW Pro Wrestling on... We'll try that again. At GCW Pro Wrestling over on Twitter. GCW Pro Wrestling over on Instagram. Facebook.com/GCW Pro Wrestling is one of our fan pages. It is our primary fan page on Facebook. Yes, we have 4. Through extenuating circumstances that have taken place, we ended up with 4, theoretically. 1 is Global Championship Wrestling, and that is the one that I always point everybody to. I'm asked about the one that has the orange and yellow GCW logo. That was one that was originally set up by our first television production team. The second one is the third one is GCW Photos, for when Victor Smith of Southeastern Photos would have a perfect place to upload as well. And then from there, when we had when someone set up a Global Championship Wrestling Facebook Friends page, that one became a Facebook fan page after Facebook decided that we could not have a Friends page. And they would not let us merge it with any of the others. Go figure that one out. So, yes. So, there are 4. Now, there is a GCW message board. That is not ours. No one from our crew runs that. So, I just figured I'd throw that one out there. It's like, I have
no idea where that even is and who owns that. Or I own everything, so whoever's doing that's doing that illegally.
It was originally done.
False representing.
Yeah, well, it was originally a Raz more than anything else, but it was a conversational site, but it kind of like fell by the wayside. But that's all, that's an entirely different animal. But once again, we are on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, MySpace, and Facebook. We do not have an official GCW Snapchat, which some people wonder why, but it's just... Social media is a pain in the butt to run to begin with, and since we're pulling back that curtain, I handle the majority of the social media sites. I have some great hands help me every once in a while, but I handle the majority of the social media sites. So, adding another
one. Sometimes when you give people the rights to do that stuff, they become a bitch and try to shut it down. So screw you, you prick.
There you go. There you go. On that note, once again, looking forward to seeing everybody this coming Saturday night. And Dan and I echo each other's comments, not necessarily about that last part, even though we do echo each other's comments about that last part. But we.
Now, you said worse than bastard about that prick, so that's okay. You and everybody else. So That's okay. I just had to be. You give people enough rope, they hang themselves. Sometimes they double knot and hang themselves.
There you go. That's the truth.
Does the letters F-O mean anything to you?
There you go. We're back to Smokey and the Bandit, and I love it. Once again, this Saturday night, doors open at 7, bell time 7:30, March Mayhem. We are going to blow the roof off the Pell City Civic Center. To everybody listening live, allow me to say it like this, and I know a couple of people that are going to have flashbacks when I say this. GCW Radio is a Courtlow Media Productions Damn it. I knew I would screw that up because it's been a while since I've done it like that. Let me go ahead and do it this way. GCW Radio is a production of Mad Dog Media in association with Courtlow Media Distribution. Why? Because sometimes you got to be a Courtlow to work here. Go figure. That's what happens. I give you top billing on it. Lo and behold, I get it right. I try to get top billing, and I screw myself up every damn time.
That's all right. We got it out there.
There you go.
And you know what? We're going to get our levels level. We're going to get that Courtlow fixed.
And thank you to everybody tuning in and taking a look through Monitor 4 tonight. What's up, Remy? Miss you, brother. We'll see you this weekend. Folks, for the incomparable, the inimitable, the one, the only Mad Dog Dan Sawyer.
Who try not to cuss and keep it PG. I'll see you this Saturday night, March 25th, for March Mayhem, the 2017 Junkyard Dog Tag Team Memorial Tournament Finals. Who will be the new tag team champions? Or will the current tag team champions hold on, Mudbone and Prowler? We'll find out this Saturday night, Pell City Civic Center, March 25th.
Global Championship Wrestling's GCW Radio will be returning in the month of April. It will be Tuesday, April 18, 8:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time. For Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, I'm Fast Eddie Layne, saying join us next time as we go ringside and beyond with Global Championship Wrestling right here on Beyond Ringside Sports Radio and ProWrestlingRadio.net. Bye for now.